fresh footage obtained by JoyNews this afternoon reveals that yesterday's violence at Odododiodio was much worse than earlier thought. The video shows a man firing gunshots in the direction of the NDC supporters as the NDC and the NPP supporters both traded stones, bottles and other implements. An entertainment center said to be the base for the NPP was also destroyed, and at least 10 NDC supporters have been injured, some of them severely. We'll bring you details of that story shortly, like I indicated earlier. Take a look at this report that captures the story so far.
More than 10 persons sustained various degrees of injuries, some with cuts to their head, arm and abdomen, whilst others sustained bullet wounds. Videos shared on social media show NDC and NPP supporters trading stones, bottles and occasionally gunfire. In the videos, some persons wearing NDC shirts and paraphernalia are seen vandalizing items in a one-story entertainment center said to be the base for the NPP. TV sets and other items were destroyed in the vandalism. The NDC and NPP are accusing each other of starting the fight.
So, do you live in this area? What did you see? What do you know? Do send us a WhatsApp on 0540109009. The NDC Vice Chairman for the constituency, Isakani Amu Collison Kofi, speaks about the injuries.
But yesterday, if you look at what happens, we even have to call off the work. Okay. Yes, when the incident happens, because like I said, being the prompter, that I always have to move ahead. I have to call the MP when I think he has moved with a large crowd to the Opera Square to even just deliver. This is what has transpired. So those left even on the street that are supposed to even go and join the supporters at Opera Square couldn't go. We just have to call it off. And my brother, I was at the emergency ward yesterday from between 11 a.m. I left here 11 p.m. Because normally...
But your people also, you know, we've seen the Blue Gate building has been vandalized, and it was vandalized by the NDC people.
Exactly. And what happens was that, you see, I have to condemn that attack, but you've seen that of Blue Gate. I can also show you pictures of being the constituency vice chairman, guys that have done a sitting place for them, not even just like Blue Gate, but some miniatures that I have done, which has also been vandalized. They've damaged their TVs, they've burnt things, and it's rather unfortunate. That is why I said that, look, we know each other. We are brothers. So,
talking about knowing
yes,
each other, let me ask this, yes. Will you, given the fact that the NDC folks also vandalized the Blue Gate, on your side, will you assist the police investigation by bringing out the people from your end?
Why not? Why not? If the police want to crack the whip, okay, they should crack the whip across board, okay, because we will not condone any of these illegalities. Exactly. The police should crack the whip. If they crack the whip, look, we've collaborated with the Jamestown police on countless and several occasions where our guys are alleged to have done anything bad. We produce them to the police. Can the NPP say same? Look, you saw videos of somebody shooting at this incident, and the person is telling you that he's sleeping. You have the constituency chairman saying that he was at church with that person. My brother. So is that person a replica brother that was standing at a place shooting? When I see Nyoka Hamas, I know Nyoka Hamas. When they see Isaka, they know Isaka. When I saw my brother Kwanchi, I know this is Kwanchi. And then what I saw was that I saw Nyoka Hamas, which we popularly called Tenji, with his guys, numbering about 7 or 10, running. And the police was there. I could mention the Jamestown station officer, which we popularly called him Blackie. There were other police officers, Brobe and co. We were with them to just calm tension down that, look, this is just a peaceful walk. So just allow the people to fight. But you know, unfortunately, if you see the videos that is happening, at this base, you could see that there are crates of bottles that have been packed under the NPP base. There are even sacks which contains bottles. What it tells you is that you cannot tell me that if you've not planned for something, all of a sudden or immediately, you will get crates of bottles or sacks of bottles under your base. What is the intention? What was the purpose? So it was when they throw a bottle into the NDC crowd that the guys also have to retaliate, to just go back there. If we are having a peaceful walk, why would you have to throw these bottles into the crowd?
What we are getting from the NPP now is that they really have not, in fact, they were not the ones that started the altercation. But there are allegations about, I mean, we know that in the past month, your member of parliament, the Honorable Nilante Vanderpoel, was assaulted. And people say, well, this is only a reprisal and a payback to the NPP.
My brother, if me, it is very baffling. And I have a recording on my phone. I recall when I was attacked, because I have a very good relationship with the NPP parliamentary candidate, Bannerman, Nilante Bannerman. I called him personally. And the kind of responses he gave me, I put him on record. What he told me was that, why are you calling me? Didn't you use these boys in 2016? But the bottom line is that most of you have followed politics in Odododiodio. I want to set the record straight. Can you state categorically the number of shooting incidents or these attacks that happened in 2016?
Well, this morning, the NPP has held a press conference blaming the NDC for starting the violence. Nilante Bannerman is the parliamentary candidate for the governing NPP.
However, not the least surprised by these acts of violence, considering the fact that in 2016, after a successful campaign launch at the famous Bukom Square, this same MP led thugs to go on a vandalization spree in the constituency on the back of yet another successful walk in honor of the memory of our youth organizer, the late William Waters Rasbustego. On Saturday, the MP and his boys came running riot again without any provocation. It therefore goes without saying that these happenings in the constituency are explicitly orchestrated by the incumbent MP, whose persona and character depicts violence. This was the same person who, as the NDC parliamentary candidate in 2004, was cited for electoral fraud and violence and was injuncted from contesting that year's elections. The constituency from then on experienced peaceful electioneering campaigns and elections until he resurfaced in 2012 to contest the NDC primaries, which again was characterized by violence he masterminded. The lead up to that year's election and the events before, during and after the 2016 elections is still fresh on the minds of people. Madam Esla Usue Kufu, Abu Jinapo, the late Jacob Echebilamte, and my good self have been victims of his thuggery. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, yesterday's violent and unprovoked attacks goes to confirm that the MP has not departed from his violent ways. I hereby call on the police to, as a matter of urgency, arrest these NDC thugs and let the law take its due course to serve as a deterrent to their likes. Failing which, our people will be left with no other option than to defend ourselves. For now, I can only urge my people to remain calm, even in the face of these extreme provocations.
That's a parliamentary candidate for the NPP in the Odododiodio constituency, Nilante Bannerman. Well, the member of parliament for the area, NDC member of parliament, I should say, Nilante Vanderpoel, has been responding to this.
In the morning around that time, you will not see more than 5 NPP people in that particular base. So where did almost about 25-30 people come from that particular day? It means that they were planned. They are planned to meet there. 2, where did they gather all these bottles from? All of a sudden, I started pelting us with it. So when they pelted our people, then the people also decided to respond, because when they threw the bottles at them, some don't break, and then they try and throw back. Then what that we saw was that this guy, Yokai Amas, we've mentioned this guy's name several times. He was involved in the shooting during the registration exercise. Nothing was done. He was involved with the what do you call it? Kaswa Ofanko murder. Nothing was done. This guy was involved in the group that assaulted me in front of the Jamestown police station. Nothing was done.
But the investigations are underway, especially.
Well, how long will it take the police to investigate? How long will it take the police to? Did they even arrest him to question him? No. And then this boy pulled a gun and started firing, and the police were there, and he shot at 3 people, and then the rest started using machetes on the people. Apart from that, they peeled off concrete slabs like this, pavement blocks, hit people, old ladies, old men. Lucky enough, our boys became courageous and decided to fight back. And then they ran away. They ran away and left their shed at the mercy of the people. And then they go and organize a press conference and blame me, who had my family and everybody in the walk.
But that's not the report they gave us. They tell us that the pelting was started by your supporters.
Those who were
in an Aboboya vehicle,
it's
and
not
then they
true.
started throwing it.
It's not true. The Aboboya guy was the announcer. This guy happened to be an NPP member in 2016. He was their public announcer in 2016. And like Maradona, we poached him. And he's become our announcer now. This was the first time they've attacked him. They've attacked him several times. They spoiled his machine. We bought the machine for him because he's good, he's coherent, he's proficient. So Sami was even standing on top of the vehicle and dancing when he got there. I can give you all the videos.
He did catch up.
Then all of a sudden, they started pelting. So the man who was standing on top of the this and dancing was the one who had this. Aboboya with speakers. Where would the bottles be?
So you had bottles in there?
In Aboboya with speakers. With speakers. Big speakers and doing announcement. That's where the bottles were. The world will see them.
But Nilante, this is shameful. We are told that it's supposed to be a peaceful walk. Turns out not so peaceful. Why are we heading?
Because we have a government who have done nothing into this country. They've had so disgraceful government, and they think that it is only violence, intimidation, brutalities that they can use to suppress the anger of the people and still maintain themselves in power. They are lying back.
Could it not be that your
Ghanaians will vote them out on the 7th of December?
Could it not be that your supporters did this because you saw the crowd that came out from the NPP side? You did not have that crowd. Like we are told, that's the reason why
they did not have even a quarter of our crowd. Saturday we saw them. They did not have a quarter of our crowd. Look, MF, I'm saying that we have restrained ourselves and we'll continue to restrain ourselves because we want to use a term to throw out Nana Akufo-Addo. We will not perpetuate violence. We will not retaliate for this disgraceful act. Because you know something, even he, the MP candidate, his house, when we got to his house, people came out of the house dancing. The guy who shot went to their house, my house. In that house, his mother and only sister, another sister are the only NPP people in that house out of 10. You know, every house.
Nilante Vanderpoy is the Member of Parliament for the NDC MP for the Odododiodio constituency. Well, Accra Region Police has taken up the matter. They tell us this matter is being investigated.
10 persons have reported various degrees of injuries and are receiving treatments at the hospital, though we are told by the medical doctors that they are responding to treatment. Again, one tricycle was also set ablaze during the rioting. No arrests have been made yet, but the situation is calm and efforts are underway to get some persons whose names have been mentioned for allegedly initiating the fight arrested as investigation continues. Meanwhile, the police have also intensified its presence in the area to prevent any kind of reprisal attack.
SP Fiatenge speaks for the Accra Region Police. We'll later hear from the IGP who is touring the OT region. But security experts are saying that the police must be blamed for failing to avert the violence in hotspots ahead of the December polls. Security analyst Adib Sani is joining us right now on Zoom so we can have a conversation on this. Adib, thank you very much for your time and for your patience in waiting. I believe you've been listening to what both sides have been saying. We've heard from the parliamentary candidate for the NPP. We've heard also from the NDC MP, Nilante Vanderpoy, and then Nilante Banaman. I want to find out from you what you see, listening to both of them, what you see from your perspective as is at play here.
Well, currently, we wouldn't really be able to tell which side caused the confusion first. It is somebody's words against another person until a full-scale investigation goes into this. Then we get to know the facts of the matter. But of course, this is not the first time, it's not the second time, and probably would not be the last time, because what is currently happening is representative, is indicative of everything that is wrong with our democracy. Unfortunately, it is sad to say that we seem to be glorifying, we are celebrating the culture of impunity in the country. This is certainly not the first time such a thing is happening. But the question is, to what extent has the police been able to investigate? Has anybody been held to account? Has anybody been made to face the legal system? Of course not. As a result, a lot more people are gingered. You know, they are motivated to do the wrong thing. So far as it is political, you'll be left off the hook. But, you know, to further compound the situation is the needless, retrogressive, unnecessary interference in the work of the police from left, right, center. And it's making it extremely difficult for the police to do their work. But of particular interest is the fact that a lot of these political parties are flagrantly disregarding the law, because we have a Public Order Act. Just some few days ago, I saw on TV Director of Operations, Mr. Kwesi Ofori, talking to some youth, mostly Nigerians, who came out to demonstrate over what is happening in Nigeria. He was telling them that we have laws in the country, and before you embark on such an exercise, you need to inform the police 5 days clear. But the question I ask always, these political parties who on random basis can decide to go on a peace walk or on a health walk, do they do it with recourse to the laws? Because if really they had done that, the police should have put certain mechanisms in place on the ground to ensure that their routes are clearly defined, so we don't have these groups clashing. Unfortunately, things were done in a very disorganized fashion, and I wonder whether really indeed the police was in control of the situation. I doubt, because if really they were in control of the situation, we wouldn't have had this happening.
But then you'll also agree, Adib, that, I mean, look, if you look at the number, with the videos that are going around that we've seen, the sheer number of people who were involved in this brawl, as against the number of police personnel that would be deployed to, for this particular walk, it certainly won't be advisable for any police officer to try and intervene. It certainly will put their lives in danger.
Well, if the police was adequately informed, they would have put adequate measures in place. No matter the number, there's an operational standard when it comes to dealing with large crowds that are usually adhered to. Okay. Unfortunately, the police seem to have lost control of the situation. But that notwithstanding, these days we have CCTV cameras all over the place. And I expected that Odododiodio being such a very important constituency, everybody talks about Odododiodio. We do know that there are about 50 hotspots that has been identified in the area. And I expected that we put certain structures in place, knowing how politically volatile the area is based on police records, because every district has a divisional command which produces reports on monthly, on quarterly basis to the police headquarters. So based on these records, based on the track record of the area and based on the volatility of the area, that is why we have resolved to point out some hotspots. So at least we should have put proper mechanisms in place so we are able to forestall this from happening. We could have plainclothes police officers, okay, mix up with the people and identify who the ringleaders are, identify who the perpetrators are. If we are able to make examples of 1, 2, 3 persons, it will serve as a disincentive to other people who think that by virtue of the fact that it is political in nature, you'll be left off the hook so they can go ahead and do it. This is wrong. We need to nip in the bud the culture of impunity, or oblivion of which part of the political divide you come from. The laws must work. Unfortunately, this always happens and nobody does anything about it. When our person fired shots, recently the Peace Council has called on the police to make available, okay, to make public the report. Nobody seems to know what is going into it. Niva de Vanderpoel, according to him, was allegedly assaulted in front of the Jamestown police station. But to date, nobody knows what has come.
So here we are, Adib, so here we are, Adib, with this catalogue of electoral or election-related violence that we have not been able to resolve. What will be your expectation, and I believe the expectation of all Ghanaians, from the police at this point? Already, we bear in mind that, like you have indicated, you say there are interferences in the work of the police. Do we expect that that will change overnight in the run-up to the election? What are your expectations of the police as you wrap up for me?
Well, with a heavy heart, I mean, I don't mean to be a prophet of doom or a naysayer, but with the trajectory we're going, it can only get worse until we do some changes, especially with respect to building confidence and trust in the police service. These days, a lot of these politicians, knowing they cannot trust the police, resort to the use of vigilante groups, okay, as a means of ensuring security. In recent times, a lot more Ghanaians are going for weapons in an unprecedented manner. That should give us signs. You see, the thing is, the warning signs are so pervasive. They are so glaring, but we're failing to see it. The police would also have to be professional. I do understand how difficult it is under the current circumstance for them to do their work. But they have to do their work with recourse to the principles underpinning their professional, their work. Police Service Act 350, the Code of Conduct, the Code of Ethics. The politicians would also have to be held to account, okay? We have to make a conscious move to disband these vigilante groups who are yet to, show their faces. I mean, this is just a rehearsal. Already in Kumasi, we've had a number of young men besiege a police station at Asawasi. There was flagrant disrespect of police officers to the extent that one of them even sat on the counter because, according to them, some of their supporters were arrested. There's the need for a consistent enforcement of the law. You don't do it and you are left off the hook because you are in power. Another person does it because he's from the other side, he's dealt with. When you do that, it results in people losing more confidence in the police. So, there's the need for state institutions to be functional. State institutions would have to work, the laws would have to bite. Unfortunately, on this occasion, it looks more like, so far as it is political and based on your clout and which part of the political divide you come from, you're always left off the hook. And this is not good for our democracy going into the election.
Certainly not. Adib, thank you so much for your time and for your patience. Adib Sani is a security analyst there with the Jatike Foundation. He joined us via Zoom to talk about this. Now, his point essentially is that the laws will have to bite, but will it? And will the police, irrespective of the interferences that the security experts have said over the years, be able to unravel this particular issue so we don't have a recurrence? We're still monitoring this story. We'll bring you more when we do have it.